Angels is kind of a prominent theme in the album, and I know you've talked about kind of it being one of your greatest addictions. Yes. Angels. When did you become hooked? Tell me more.
I actually became interested in them in The Invisible because I lost someone I adored. And such an experience of grief can be an awakening in some extreme cases. Mine felt like one. First because The Invisible started to be filled with her love. And the more I was keeping on the crazy conversation with The Invisible, the more it was answering to me. I made a choice to believe when I lost her. And to be honest with you, I'm very genuine about my spirituality. It did bless my life with a new meaning.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because I know you've been very open about losing your mum and kind of navigating grief through the album. Is it cathartic? Is it helpful to make music, or actually is it quite difficult to confront those emotions?
I personally feel it is cathartic to make music. Music did save me. I am also very blunt about all that because I feel it's important for me to say music saved my life when I was 20 years old. It gave me a different dimension, a different language, which is the language of melody, of frequency, that exceeds language. I love language, huh? Don't mistake me. I consider myself also a poet. I love working the intricacies of language. But it's imperfect. It's intricate. It's flawed as we are, right? Music, I feel, is just way wiser than me. Like when I write a song, I'm humbled. I am also addicted to the healing of music.
So you're addicted to music and angels?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not so bad, right?
They're good voices. They are, as voices go, I have to say they're not. And what about Madonna? Because
I'm addicted to Madonna as well.
Addicted to Madonna. Okay, fine. So we're addicted to everything here. We've got Madonna, angels, music. Anything else you'd like to declare that you're addicted to?
Poetry.
And
the colour yellow.
Another good voice. So, this kind of angel-esque voice of Madonna you hear on the album. How does that come about? Where did you meet Madonna? How does one connect with Madonna?
She picks up the FaceTime and I just explain that. I'm like, I need you to be this all-encompassing dystopian voice of the everything. I need you to be the most ambivalent science fiction character. Like at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey, where time is warped and you don't know who's speaking. And she was like, you're crazy. I'll do it.
I'm just curious to know, when you FaceTime Madonna, how does she pick up? Is it just a sort of, hey, hello? How does that work? Because for, us mere mortals, I can't imagine it.
You know why she's perfect for the character? Because you kind of forget things. You just remember the piercing blue eyes. Honestly, she has a hypnotizing quality.
Now let's talk about Meltdown Festival here at the Southbank Centre, because here we are, we're right in the middle of it.
So this is a stage before it's occupied.
What an amazing list of people that you are hugely esteemed, of course, yourself, but joining David Bowie and Patti Smith and Grace Jones and so many others. How does it feel to join them in that list?
It's really fun. I first took it as a huge honor, and I realized it was arriving at a time of my life where I felt like I couldn't even be amongst them, because I feel like they solidify such a Grace Jones and Bowie was a lifetime of dedication to art. That's also what I crave for as an artist. So I took it as actually an encouragement for me, because I feel like the youngster of the team, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm encouraged to have that focus for my life, which, by the way, I intend to do. I intend to die a poet, my good sir, and I will prove myself until the end. But also I was just happy to be invited in that conversation, because it feels so joyful to curate a festival.
Now, you talked about adopting he, him pronouns online on your social media, and I just wondered, did that feel like a safe space to do that, or was it difficult, if I can ask?
Society is still not a safe space for everybody who wants to truly investigate their truth as a queer or trans people. It's not safe because it's still very much articulated on one vision of the world, and I insist on one, because we've always been there. Two spirits. They've been integrated in primitive Saitian society as legitimate members of the society. Two spirits, two gender in one body. I was born a woman in a society. I know how hard it is to be a woman in today's society. I know many men who suffer from the very oppressive gender norms with whom they've been raised with. Don't cry. Don't be a Some men feel so feminine and still want to stay in their manhood and don't fight for it every day.
You've always been kind of unashamedly yourself, but obviously, as you say, we live in a patriarchal society. The music industry itself can be quite straitjackety at times. Have you ever felt kind of boxed in, or have you ever had, execs saying to you, you need to be a bit more like this, or you need to be...
They tried to box me in since the first day I arrived with my black suit and my crazy ideas. My journey, they don't know, because we protect the audience from that. We just give the art. But yes, I've been fighting against boxing my whole career. And even I boxed myself when I was younger. I couldn't even understand the true, glorious, poetic tension of who I was fully. But yeah, but because the violence of patriarchy is ingrained everywhere. Deprived we are, famished. Feed them poetry making, and they might flourish.
Now, this is kind of the opposite of poetry, what I'm about to ask you, but I know you've spoken about the commercialization of Pride Month in the past.
Yeah.
I take it you're not a huge fan of kind of big banks draping themselves in rainbow flags. And do you ever think it's a force for good? Do you ever think that kind of the commercialization or the mainstreamness of Pride can be a good thing? Or is it always sort of corrosive?
Well, you know, I'm a pessimist, so I always talk about the things I'm a half-empty glass. It's because I'm a bit anguished. Of course, it's still good to have visibility. But I'm always like, for a month? A Pride month? I want my whole life to feel prideful. Infused with that. I don't like the commodification of the conversation, for sure. I never thought it was helpful. But we can still make the most of the time they give us, I guess, until they give us more time.
So it's this idea of being sort of wheeled out in 1 month. It feels tokenistic to you.
Mother's Day, Pride Month, you know. Every day should be a celebration of love.
Are you an artist that embraces AI, artificial intelligence, or are you somebody who kind of thinks the robots are going to come and zap our creativity? What's your take on it?
We are coming to destroy you.
Are you feeling secure about it?
Oh no, we hardly met them. I actually think we're working, you know, we are doing always the same thing. We're so cute as humans, you know. We barely discover something and we have to conquer it and, you know, use it for our problems. No, wait a second. We actually have no idea if they function the same. But I think we should be humble. Like, we should first understand that we don't understand much about reality and how reality works. I still believe in conversation. You know, if things get bad, let's send them a poet, a philosopher, and a theologist and have a conversation Matrix style with the big beast. Okay. We know nothing of them yet. We should laugh a bit more at life, because really we know nothing.
On that philosophical note, I'm going to leave it there. It's lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to you too, thanks.